Why, hello there, friends. It's Emma here, the Bookish Princess. Today I'm going to be sharing with you some of my 2024 reading plans, specifically my book club reading plans. If you watch my monthly reading wrap-ups here on YouTube or over on Substack, then you'll probably have heard me mention the book club. I started this a year and a half, 2 years ago with my subscribers. So it's basically just an email list, and every month we read a different book, and then towards the end of the month we have a video call on Google Meet. I email out the list, email out the link to the list, and then we just all meet and chat about the book, and it's been so much fun. I've posted about books that I've been reading on YouTube for years, and it's always so fun to hear from people in the comments about what they're reading or what they think about that book. But to get to see all of your faces and to, hear your thoughts has just been so enriching and such a blessing. And really, I feel like I always hear something that sparks my imagination, or that I hadn't looked at the book in that way, or hadn't known something about the book. So it's very chill and informal. I know we have people who maybe can't make it for a few months or aren't interested in every month's book, and so they just pop in now and then. It's usually like 6 to 15-ish people who attend each meeting, so it varies a little bit, but it's just been really fun. And I've been putting together the list for 2024, and I did do a poll of our book club members. So we had about 30 people vote, and it was it's interesting to see what people voted on, because I put together a list of things we'd talked about reading in the future in our book club meetings, and also things that I've been wanting to read or things that I've been wanting to reread. And some of the things that people voted for, it was a little bit of a surprise, but other things were not a surprise, and I felt so affirmed and seen. So I have the list here, and I thought I'd share it with you guys. If you're interested in joining the book club and are not on the email list yet, you can just send me an email, emma@bookishprincess.com, and I'll add you to the list. Over the past couple of years, I've tried to limit the time I spend on social media, either limit or eliminate my social media. I don't usually have Instagram on my phone, but I was realizing as I was spending less time on Instagram that I did miss hearing from people in the comments or in DMs. So that's when I started initially a Discord group, which the Discord group still exists as well. It just is so nice because there's not an algorithm, and it doesn't feel like there are bells and whistles to keep you scrolling. It's just a very streamlined chat room. Discord is just like a chat room app / website, kind of just like text message strings. And I really love connecting with you guys on there as well. It feels like maybe there are a couple weeks that go by and nobody has anything to say, but then we come in and talk about what we're reading or recipes, and it's just a lovely place off of Instagram, off of social media, to kind of connect and swap stories. And the book club grew out of that, because first we were just typing about books that we had picked to read together, but then we added the video call. So yeah, if you just send me an email, emma@bookishprincess.com, and I will add you to Discord and the email list. I'm trying to think now of all the books that we read this year. You'll probably hear me mention quite a few of them in my top reads of 2023, which I'm working on that list and on that video, because the end of the year is almost here. It's almost time to get that out. But I've talked about a lot of those books in my monthly reading wrap-ups. So let's jump right into our 2024 books. I have assigned dates for all of these book club meetings. What we've been doing this past year is we've tried to stick to the assigned date, but I don't really know yet what I'm going to be doing in August of 2024. So what we've done is if I need to change a book club date a couple weeks before the actual book club date, I'll usually send out an email or post a little poll in Discord with some alternate times, and then people can vote on which time the most people can make it to, which I'm going to try to stick to these dates and times. And actually, they are all Saturdays towards the end of the month at noon. It's usually the last Saturday of the month at noon. I think most of our meetings have been Saturday afternoons, which seems to work well for everybody. But just FYI, these are tentative dates. Hopefully we'll stick with them. But yeah, usually a couple weeks before, I'll email to, if we need to change it. So I thought we would start the year off with one of the top picks from the poll, which I love this book. I read it before. It's been a little while though, so I'm really excited to reread it. But I'm just so delighted that all of you love it too. It was the number 3 book on the list. You won't be surprised by number 1 and number 2 when we get to number 1 and number 2. But I was a little surprised by number 3. I didn't know there was that much love out there for The Scarlet Pimpernel by Berenice Orczy. I never know how to pronounce that. This is such a great book. It's set during the French Revolution. It is about a British spy daredevil who's named the Scarlet Pimpernel because no one knows his actual identity. And he risks his life. He has a whole group, a whole little network of spies, and he sneaks over to France and helps some of the innocent aristocrats, the women, the children, helps them escape to England. And of course, the French are after him, and the French want to take him down. The back says, the thrilling story of an aristocratic hero with a double life. The Scarlet Pimpernel set the standard for all tales of masked avengers that would follow. So I'm so excited that there's so much love for this book, that you guys appreciate it too, because I absolutely love it, but it's been too long. So I'm very excited to read it with you guys and discuss. Now in February, for the past 2 years, I've done a readathon with some other lovely booktubers called Feb Regency. As the name implies, it is a Regency era literature readathon, so just to encourage people to read more different literature from the Regency period in England and Great Britain. And of course, I had to theme the book club pick on Feb Regency. This also did get quite a lot of votes in the poll. It is Belinda by Maria Edgeworth. I love Maria Edgeworth. She was one of Jane Austen's favorite authors. I actually read 2 books by her this year, The Absentee and, the other one's back on the shelf. Vivian, that was the name of it. I loved The Absentee. Belinda was the first book by Maria Edgeworth that I ever read, and I remember loving it, but it was years ago. So I'm very excited to read it with everybody and to be perfect for February and Feb Regency. See, I tried to kind of pair these books with months that I know generally have readathons that will kind of match them, and March here on BookTube often is the middle grade March readathon to read middle grade children's literature, and this was the #2 book in the poll, and it is by the one and only Elizabeth Goudge. She's one of my favorite authors. I talk about her all the time. Her adult literature is so beautiful, like City of Bells and The Dean's Watch and the Damaroche trilogy. All of my Elizabeth Goudge's right there on that shelf. But this is a children's book, and it's probably one of her more well-known books because I think J.K. Rowling liked this book. So we're going to be reading it in March. It should be good for middle grade March, and great to get some Goudge on the list. I haven't reread this one in a while. It's got great magical vibes because, I mean, you can see there on the cover, we've got a white, what is the little white horse? Does it have a unicorn's horn on its head or not? And there's like a lion and a beautiful house. Here on the back it says, it was under the white moon that I saw him, the little horse with neck arched high in pride. The little white horse belonged to the Moon Princess, who lived centuries before Maria Merryweather heard her sad story. But Maria, now living in the mysterious old manor house of Moonacre, finds herself closely involved with what happened to the Moon Princess so long ago. So, very excited. Oh, and did I say the dates? I think I'm missing things. So, January 27th, The Scarlet Pimpernel. February 24th, Belinda by Maria Edgeworth. And then we have March 23rd, A Little White Horse. I tried to not let things overlap with Easter and other holidays. So, but again, like I said, these are tentative dates. We'll confirm them once we get closer. Our April meeting is going to be on Saturday, April 20th at noon. All of these were tentatively saying noon. And this was the #4 pick. I've never read it before. I only heard about it recently from the lovely Christy over at Dostoevsky in Space. I read John Bunyan's classic Pilgrim's Progress for the first time this year and absolutely loved it. But then I heard Christy talking about the fact that there is a Pilgrim's Regress by C.S. Lewis, which sounds absolutely fascinating. So that is going to be our April read. I'm so excited to check it out. I mean, C.S. Lewis, you can't really go wrong with, but with the Pilgrim's Progress kind of tie-in especially, I think it should be fascinating. I have another favorite author for May, and honestly, this author feels like a good pick for the start of springtime. This is going to be Saturday, May 25th. I'll list all the dates and books down in the description just so they're in a handy list. And I'll put this on my Substack as well. May is going to be Pat of Silverbush by Ellen Montgomery. Ellen Montgomery is so wonderful. I've never read this one. I mean, there's a cat on the cover, so that feels like a good sign. The back says, there's no place like home. Do fairies really come for the dish of milk we leave them? Is Mrs. McClenahan really a witch? How is it possible to find a new baby in a bed of parsley? These are all questions Pat Gardner wants to know. And it seems her Irish housekeeper, the incomparable Judy Plum, always has an answer, along with his hilarious story or two. Very excited to read some Ellen Montgomery with you guys. We did we didn't do Jane of Lantern Hill. We did The Blue Castle, which was so much fun. I love The Blue Castle. Coming into the summer in June, we've got some action. Our tentative date is Saturday, June 29th. This also got a lot of votes. This was the number 6 pick. I've never read it before, and I've always kind of wanted to because the movie is so very popular and famous. It is Jurassic Park by Michael Crichton? Crichton? I don't know how to pronounce that exactly. But yeah, dinosaurs, action in summer. I feel like I'm always in the mood for action books in summer. And it's always so fascinating to read a book that you haven't read yet when you're really familiar with the movie. Here on BookTube, there's a popular readathon called Jane Austen July. So in July, I put our number 1, by far and away, poll winner. I think like all but 2 people voted for this. Mansfield Park by Jane Austen. See, I was like, well, I talk about Jane Austen so much on my channel. Maybe like we don't want to necessarily talk about that, but I just loved that everyone voted for it. Maybe we'll always have to have a Jane Austen on the list in the book club moving forward. And Mansfield Park should be really fun. Fanny Price is such a wonderful heroine. She's not obviously powerful, but like I think she is very powerful in like such a unique, feminine, kind and compassionate, but thoughtful way. She's courageous, but not in the obvious outward way that, say, like Elizabeth Bennet is super outgoing. Fanny is more retiring, but has this strength of character in her that is so amazing. What is probably my favorite line in Jane Austen comes from Fanny Price. I did kind of a whole video about this summer in my Jane Austen ranking video. That line, "We have all a better guide in ourselves if we would attend to it than any other person can be." That is Fanny Price, and she lives that out. So yes, our date for that is going to be Saturday, July 27th. In August, we have a theological classic, A Doctor of the Church. We're going to do Saturday, August 31st, The Way of Perfection by St. Teresa of Avila. St. Teresa of Avila was just such an amazing person, amazing saint. I read her Interior Castle, which I love. One of my favorite prayers she wrote as well. It goes, "Let nothing dismay me, let nothing disturb me. All things pass, God never changes. He who has God finds he lacks nothing. God alone suffices." And this is the Image Classics edition, and it says, "Of all the works by Teresa of Avila, The Way of Perfection is the most easily understood. Written at the height of the controversy surrounding the reforms Teresa instituted in the Carmelite order, it instructed the nuns in the practice of prayer." So I think this should be so, so beautiful. So that's Saturday, August 31st. Saturday, September 28th. There is a readathon out there called Tudor Timber, and this is actually historical fiction set in the Tudor period. My dust jacket is like so beat up that I took it off and tried to put it away carefully. But it is a beautiful dust jacket, and it has these beautiful illustrations. This is The Perilous Guard by Elizabeth Marie Pope. Yeah, these illustrations, the like black and white, are just so amazing. It is a handmaiden of Queen Elizabeth, but she's not queen yet. Mary is on the throne, and she has basically been punished and sent away to this castle called the Perilous Guard in the middle of nowhere. And there's some mysterious things happening. There's a sort of mysterious fairy hill nearby that they're kind of figuring out what that means. And Elizabeth Marie Pope's writing is just incredible. Earlier this year, we read The Sherwood Ring, which is set during the American Revolution. I love that one a lot. I just think the characters are amazing, but it is told in a frame story, so sometimes the frame throws people off. So sometimes The Perilous Guard is more accessible. I think it's probably the more popular of Elizabeth Marie Pope's writings, but I love her writing style. I wish we had more books by her. But it should be a really fun pick for Tudor Timber. That is Saturday, September 28th. Saturday, October 26th. What is October on BookTube? It's Victober. And this was our number 4. It actually tied with Pilgrim's Regress. It was a tie between these two. It is Charlotte Mary Young. We're going to read The Three Brides. I've read 2 books by Charlotte Mary Young so far. This year I read Pillars of the House and just fell head over heels in love with it. I might have to read another Charlotte Mary Young before October. I might not want to wait that long. I got my mom hooked on Charlotte Mary Young as well, and she's been like I think she's like read 2 more since she finished Pillars of the House. The wonderful Kate Howe introduced me to Charlotte Mary Young, and Kate said that Charlotte Mary Young is like the Elizabeth Goudge of the Victorian period, because Goudge writes so beautifully about faith, especially in her adult works. We don't get a ton of faith in the Little White Horse, but like in The Dean's Watch or City of Bells, a lot of books, Elizabeth Goudge just writes so beautifully and authentically about faith. And Charlotte Mary Young does the same thing. Her characters are also individual as well. They're all so real and different, and they approach their faith in different ways, but they're all really, it's really the priority for all of them, and it's just so delicious. I love Charlotte Mary Young, and I can't wait to read The Three Brides. That's Saturday, October 26th. Saturday, November 23rd, so this is before Thanksgiving, we're going to be reading Mary Hall by Beverly Nichols. Beverly Nichols, I've talked about a lot. He wrote some wonderful gardening books, and this year I also read his books on cats, which they're just fun, nonfiction, light, frothy. If P.G. Wodehouse wrote about gardening and cats, I feel like that's what you would get with Beverly Nichols. Beverly Nichols is a little bit harder to find. He has not been reprinted. So I figure November, see, this could work for nonfiction November too, because Mary Hall is technically nonfiction. It's about this beautiful house, Mary Hall, and the garden renovations there. I have not read Mary Hall yet, so I'm very excited. But if you're planning to do this meeting, you might want to start keeping your eye on copies of it on like thrift books or eBay or wherever now, because they can be a little pricey. So if you just keep an eye on it, hopefully you'll find one that's not too bad. But that's going to be Saturday, November 23rd. And then our last meeting of the year is going to be kind of early in December. Tentatively, it's actually only 2 weeks later, Saturday, December 7th. We're gonna just have a fun Christmas meeting. One of our book club members suggested The Legend of Holly Claus, and this sounds so charming. It's Santa's daughter is Holly Claus. It's a children's book. It should be fun and festive. This year we read and discussed A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens for our December meeting, and it was really, really fun. So there you have it, our book club plans for 2024. As I mentioned, if you'd like to join the list, feel free to send me an email, emma@bookishprincess.com. I am on Substack, where you can subscribe to my newsletter there, and then you get the newsletters emailed out. Possibly you're watching this video on Substack, because lately I have been trying to post things on both YouTube and Substack, because that way, if you're trying to keep yourself clear of the YouTube algorithm, you can just either watch it in your email or go on the Substack blog and watch it there. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you're all having a wonderful and a blessed Advent. Make sure you're subscribed on Substack or YouTube, because I'm sure I will be getting my top reads of the year video / list of quotations up very soon. I'll talk to you all again soon. Until then, stay bookish. Bye, friends.